Welcome to the Queen's Lair, a lifestyle podcast. Get inspired by our latest tips and information about small business, entrepreneurship, natural hair, travel, food, and even relationships. Stay tuned for another great episode. I am your host, Renee Patrice. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into my podcast once again. We are back with another episode of Elevation Entrepreneur. I know you guys are loving these episodes and I get such great feedback on them. Today, we have Yaisa Mann, who is here with us, and she is going to speak a little bit about her background and her support and getting behind championing women. Let me read a little bit about her so you can kind of get an understanding of who we're going to be talking today. Yaisa is a gifted visionary, apostolic leader, and prophetic voice. She is the cheerleader for the chosen. Ooh, love that. Teaching and mentoring faith-based women influencers how to supernaturally process their healing and deliverance to boldly live out their calling and purpose for God. Yaisa is passionate about creating supernatural spaces for strategic networking to empower entrepreneurs how to enrich their business relationships and revenue.
Think about like those words that
Now, Yaisa, give us some background on you, how you got started. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, Renee, and I'm excited to be here. And it's just like, wow. When you say, how did I get here? Like, how much time do we have? I thought I had it all planned out. I'm a California native, and I was for so long a professional college student. And so I just kind of felt comfortable. I was in a bubble. I learned that system so well. And I had gotten my master's degree, and I was on my way to get my PhD degree, and I ended up in Oklahoma, LOL. And
wow.
In Oklahoma, I thought I was like Dorothy in Kansas, like Wizard of Oz, like, we're not in Kansas anymore. So, yeah, that was long. It was just culture shock. But because I was so determined that I was going to get this degree, I let the weather, the scare of tornadoes, the humidity, just even the kind of like, not California place, I didn't let that scare me. And I was an English major, and I want to just give a little backstory that when I want to just go right in and say I lost everything. Like, I was 2 weeks away from getting my doctorate degree. So I moved from California to Oklahoma to get a degree. And then I was 2 weeks, and I fast forward to you right now, I was 2 weeks away from getting my doctorate degree. And then I didn't. I was told I was not going to get it. And wow. And so processing all of that was a lot, because not only did I hear that I wasn't going to get my degree, my husband at the time also said he wanted a divorce. So I lost everything like within a matter of, 1 week, then the next week, and then it's like, how am I going to survive? Because then I lost my job as well, because if I didn't have that doctorate degree, then I was like terminal. I was not able to hold that status. And with my relationship, because it was a shotgun wedding, if you don't know what that is, like, I was pregnant and then we got married, but we try to make the best out of it. So that's why that part doesn't really hurt as much, because I know that it wasn't my fairy tale. But when you think about bringing a life into the world, you want to give your kids the best, and you want to give them that American, quote unquote dream. So we did the best we can. So that's why I was able to release him. Not that it was not soul ties and hardship behind divorce, but not getting my degree, I thought that's who I was. But after losing is when I was able to find the real me. And how I found the real me was working in retail. Like, I have all this background in college, not just being a student, but also being a professor. And so I was used to leading from the front. Students kind of give you, like this preferential treatment. Like, they want to not just, bring you the apple every day, but like they want you to give them a good grade, or they really are there to learn. So I kind of had that privilege, kind of where I kind of just did my own thing, studied, and then I taught my classes. But then in retail, it's kind of like I'm serving now, and people don't care about my background in English literature. People don't. They just want you to get them what they need. And so I had to learn how to listen. And so you have 2 holes for your ears, but 1 hole for your mouth. So I learned like my mouth. That's what I was used to getting paid for. Now I'm getting paid to listen. And not only listening to customers, it's like that's when I really got to hear God for myself. Like, not because my mom was trying to encourage me through, trial and triumph. My mom wasn't trying to tell me it's going to be okay. When I got to retail, I didn't plan to work there. I guess my resume was on Monster, and so I got hired, and they put me in lingerie because when I was a college professor, I created and taught a body image class, and so they thought that it was a perfect fit for me to be in lingerie with body image, So I was there, and I complained because here I am around all these lacy, delicate pieces, women coming in for their anniversaries or their honeymoons, and I'm like in a nightmare, And I'm like, and I'm smiling on the outside, but on the inside, I'm just broken in little pieces. And I had been there for like 6 months, and I got the hang of it, fitting women into the right bra and helping them get their shapewear. And even I even learned about stuff too. I learned about, your sleep to street, like you have your loungewear, just different from your pajamas. So it actually benefited me. Like, I didn't realize that I wore old t-shirts to bed. That's not the reason why I got divorced, y'all. But I realized that I really didn't understand, not femininity, like where you have to be wearing pink and little feathery slippers, but just taking care of myself, like self-care. So learning self-care was like, when I got home now, I work, lingerie. I had bought me a couple things, like I could put on a soft or silky robe, and it would be like, if your love language is touch, it would be like something soft touching. And I had been there, that 6 months had kind of went by, and it's like when I heard Holy Spirit, because I didn't understand God, Jesus, and Holy Spirit. I just thought, I didn't really know. I just went to church, but it was like I heard like Holy Spirit just say, wear it for yourself. And I thought, huh? Yeah. And he was talking about lingerie. And I said, what? Because in my mind, I'm legal age to vote, to drink, and get married and have kids. But I just assumed when you wore lingerie, you wore it for somebody else. And so not only did I have good bras and matching underwear and then nice robes, but now I also got soft pieces that were like where I just want a silky gown that I can just wear for myself. And I thought, wow, I've never done this before.
Because I think too, as women, we are conditioned to, when you're dressed up, and we even do it to each other as well. It's like, well, where are you dressed up going, girl? Where you go? And it's like, I don't have to be going anywhere. I could just be going out to lunch by myself. I don't have to. Yep. We're just trained in that mindset, and it's just a society thing, in that mindset that if women are dressed up and ready to go, somewhere, it's because it's for somebody else, and it's just never for themselves. And we're so conditioned that way, in general, we're so conditioned that way. But I think that's great that you found an outlet like that, and who knew that would be a connection like that with body image and that's a real tough thing, because they say like 80% of women out here in these streets are wearing the wrong bra already.
True. She know it. Preach it, Renee. Preach it. Teach it. Let them know.
I'm telling you, it's people. Go get a proper fitting so you're not spilling out of the sides and spilling out of the front. Because honestly, if we're talking about self-care and like body image, when you feel, shushed together, like snatched in, you feel so much better about yourself. You know what I mean? You feel put together. You don't feel like you're, hanging out all over the place. It really does connect. That is so interesting. Wow. So you're working in this space. What was like one of the most satisfying things that happened for you in business? So tell me a little bit about your business and what you do in your own business, and tell me like a really satisfying moment or, gratifying moment within your business?
Wow, it's going to be a layered answer, but thank you. That's a very good question. So all the times that I was getting my doctorate degree, and then when I had to transition to retail, I've always had my own business. I've probably, have different businesses, fitness business, then coaching business. And so I would say it was probably a busyness, because I really was like, I had the website, I had the clientele. I didn't know how to receive money, because I would just want to just not give it. Maybe I didn't know my worth. I felt like, because maybe I can say I didn't have that degree, that the degree was what made me payable. And so I felt like when I got to that degree, then I know how to ask for money, but since I didn't have it, so I had a mental block for myself. But I can say that as a progression going on, I didn't get that degree. I did not continue being a professor, but working in retail, I've had the most business success working in business. It's like my dad said, like, when you work in retail, you're going to have, you only need 1 or 2 years and you can leave, and it'll be like you have a business degree. And when he said that, I still kind of doubted him, but I believe him, and I've been there longer than 2 years. But I would say the most satisfying experience is being able not only to pack out an event and sell out tickets, but to have relationships. And I want to say that relationship is the revenue in business, because we can be transactional. So we can be transactional. I like making money, but it's like when you have another event, it's like that fear, are people going to come? So I know when there's the relationship behind it, where not only would just the people that are going to buy the tickets to come to a conference or a fitness event, but with your vendors, with your sponsors, where there's lots of communication, and it's not like just so businessy. You do have to have contracts, but when you're just being real and you're authentic and so genuine, and you want them to win. So I know, like, anyone that's connected to you when you're a business person is a reflection of you. So, you can say all money ain't good money, but at the same time, when you're creating something, it's like sometimes you're creating it from nothing, and it has to have a lot of faith, and you got to have a lot of love, and it's kind of lonely sometimes. But I want to say that relationships, I didn't realize that was the missing key. So from me starting a business to now being in business, since 2008, I've had, this is like, I'm on my 4th business. That relationship has been the key, where not only where I'm creating something, but I don't feel like I'm fleecing anyone. I don't think I'm over-promising. I feel like I'm under-promising and then over-delivering. And it's not to like people please, where I want people to like me. I want to help somebody, and the way I help them, it may seem transactional because I have to maybe accommodate by paying for the venue, or I have the DJ and I have a photographer. So I have to make sure that I'm taking care of business, like I'm paying my rent or my mortgage at my house. So that would be the thing, my way of thinking of that, but that I'm really there for them. I'm not trying to be a star. I'm not trying to be someone that's worshipped, and I think like that's been the game changer for me, is building relationships.
Yeah, the building relationships, I think it's very underrated. I think that when you make relationships, when it has to do with business, even in personal as well, when you have genuine connections and genuine relationships with people, they remember you for projects coming up. There may be a little lean time going on, and they will call you up and say, hey, I thought about you. This person needs a website, or I thought about you. This person is, getting back on their fitness game, and they're looking for somebody to help them, train them, whatever. Like, they will always, those great connections and relationships will definitely, because what do they say? Your network determines your net worth.
Exactly.
So if you got that good circle, oh my goodness, I can't even tell you. Word of mouth business is still big. It's still big. I know people spend a lot on advertising and all that sort of stuff, but you have to kind of like a pray and spray type of thing. But the good word of somebody who says, hey, I got this person who does this, I got just the person that you need, it's still huge, and it's still very relevant. Very relevant.
Wow.
That's definitely a gem for sure. So,
and
okay.
I would also like to add, because that was like a loaded question, but I want to just make it real simpler because I kind of answered a lot. I'm just excited, so forgive me. But finishing my book. I started out writing a book, and I've probably written a few books, but the book that I last wrote was so honest. Like I had things in there that I did not want to share, and I was afraid, but I put them in the book anyway. You know, I shared things that I never shared with anyone, not even to myself, because I just hid it and pretended that it did not exist. And I want to say that was something that was a game changer as well in my business, because it's like the shame, like when there's no shame for anything. And the book, I'm not saying everyone's going to want to write a book, but I find lots of people who love writing books. But that was like a good marketing tool, because it's like I got this, and I made it short. It was maybe 200 pages. I got it down to 90-something pages. I wanted it to be a table book where you can, and people read it in one day. They're like, it took me 3 hours or less to read it. And to me, that was the most fulfilling thing to date in business that I've done. And even though it's a book, but a book can still be a business as well in its own way, because you have to have ISBN. But so I want to encourage anyone that has a story, don't look at Shakespeare or, you know, whoever just wrote something on the New York Times bestseller, because everyone's story is going to be different, and it's your story. And when you release it, it's kind of like you're releasing yourself, that chapter is closed, and like that's behind you, and you never know how someone else can be so benefited by your own story to walk out their story.
Oh, absolutely, because I think a lot of people feel like they go through all these things, and we know we don't go through these things by ourselves, but when you're going through trauma, when you're going through tragedy, when you're going through, you know, extreme sad situations or whatever, you're not thinking about anybody else but yourself. And you're like, why am I dealing with this? Why am I, you know, going through this? What I had to learn, I think, from going through so many things, especially in the last 10 years, you know, I definitely understand so much of what you have explained. Instead of looking at things, you know, questioning, like, God, why is this happening to me? I look at it like, okay, all right, God, what are you trying to teach me? What are you trying to teach me from this? You know, instead of, why is this happening to me? What am I supposed to learn from this? Because really, yes, do we fail in life? But if you fail and you haven't learned a lesson from it, then you stay down. You know what I mean? So it's like, what is this trying to teach me? And if I can find a lesson in it, and I can carry that, and I can share it with another sister friend who may be going through something and holding it in, and she was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, let me tell you what happened. It opens up so many amazing doors. And I tell you, I wasn't really walking in my assignment until maybe 5 years ago. And I've had business, and, you know, I've done events and conferences and all these different things. And I really wasn't walking in my assignment until, probably like 5 years ago, where I was like, okay, God, I'm now listening to what you have to say. I'm not doing what I want to do. I'm doing where you're going to lead me, you know, and that has been the thing. And that's how this segment came to pass, this Elevation Entrepreneur. And it just started, you know, with the first person just, you know, coming on and just talking about how they got started, and it helped the next person. You know, we've had financial literacy. I think, you know, that's something, especially in the Black community, that there's not enough of, financial literacy. And, you know, we saw, you know, during the pandemic where people, you know, got their $1,400 and ran out and got the new iPhone, you know.
Oh my.
And, you know, they did not, I mean, I know here in Atlanta, the mayor at the time was Keisha Lance Bottoms. She was so angry, and I couldn't even fault her for it. She was like, we're in the middle of a pandemic. It was the height of the pandemic, because that money came through sometime, I think, May 2020. And people were online, gathered together in crowds. Meanwhile, there's millions of people dying. I mean, this was the height of COVID. And she was like, there's no social distancing, and you guys are out here, and the store is open. You know what I'm saying? Lockdown had you know, officially had ended, and stores were slowly opening. But I tell you, that apple was wide open, and people were gathered one on top of each other. Most of them weren't wearing masks. It was crazy. And I'm like, it's the mindset. You know what I'm saying? When your mindset is just, so askew, you're not paying attention to the bigger picture.
Come on now.
I definitely, I get it. I understand it. I was like, oh, I need to be in the mix and of the mix. And like, nah, you really don't. You really don't. God has a plan for everybody. I truly believe that. And I was not walking in that about 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do, So believe me, I understand. I totally understand.
You get it. I love it. And I'm gleaning right now from it too. Like, I was going to ask you, was it something that was in your vision? Did someone speak it to you? Or did you just wake up and just say, this is it?
It was something that was in my vision that I resisted because I had my own plan of what I wanted to do. And I had to really let go of, I was even angry for a long time because I was like, why did I not do what I was supposed to do from the jump? I had this vision 15 years ago. I was told many things 15 years ago, and I sat on it and sat on it and sat on it because I just wanted to do what I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? I went to the whole married, and relationship no more, and where do you go from there, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I knew all the things that I was supposed to do, and I did not do them because I was just self-serving. And that was, I had to check myself, and I had to be like, well, you have all of these different talents for things. Why are you not like diving into helping people? Why are you not getting on your podcast and giving information? You know what I'm saying? Like, it may not always come in a consultation. It may just come from people listening to your podcast. I've gotten business from my podcast indirectly. People are like, I've been listening to your podcast for 6 months, and I just, wanted to call you. I don't know what I'm doing on social media. I need somebody to do my social media. I don't know who this person is. They just came out of somewhere. Or somebody that I may have done a website for some years ago, they were like, oh, my homegirl had this really great website. And I asked her who did it, and she said, Honest Queen Media, you need to contact them. But I don't know if she still does websites anymore. And this is a website that I did for somebody like 10 years ago, 9 years ago. But that's why I said, people will have your name on their mind when you make good connections. And I still keep in touch with this lady. And
three things popped up when you said that. Like, one was the parable of the talent. One that had 1 talent, one that had 2 talents, one that had 5 talents. But you have to do something with the talent. And then the next thing was like, what you sow, you're going to reap it. So you may, sow something the same day you sow it. It may not be the same day you eat the fruit that you, were harvesting. And then the next thing is delayed obedience is still disobedience. So you're speaking to me right now. So even if you're like, something, but you see, like, you really desire something, and it's like desires need to be, I guess, delighting yourself in the Lord. He'll give you the desires of your heart, but He's the desire first. So thank you for speaking to me right now.
Everything was misaligned. It was like, okay, the business, gotta be a boss. And I'm like, hold up. God was like, no, it's called God, family, and business. Business ain't even second. Family needs to be second.
Family.
And I tell you, it was an eye opener, and it has completely transformed me. It's transformed my business. People around me are like, okay, she's moving different. I don't keep a lot of the same company. Not that I kept bad company before, but people who are just no longer serving you. We tend to keep people around long past their expiration date. And it's they're not moving. They're just, every time you do something, well, I don't understand. How'd you get to do that? Where'd that come from? I never saw you did that before. What? Really?
It's kind of like when you have fellowship and we have all the fellows on the ship, but then you have somebody that's putting holes in it, so you're sinking, and then you're having to do maintenance. You're having to keep backtracking, or like you can't go forward and sail forward because there's all these things troubleshooting, and you're trying to keep them in the boat, but they're the one that's sinking the boat. So that's good revelation right there too.
Yeah, that is one of the things I had to look at my circle, you know, and I had to look at people who just were just standing around, you know, and not about anything. You know, not that everybody has to be an entrepreneur. I'm probably one of the few entrepreneurs in my friendship group that I grew up with. I think I'm the only one in my friendship group. But then I have a separate entrepreneurship group of friends, you know, so that we kind of, you know, we definitely can, you know, go back and forth on stuff, you know, because they kind of understand it a little bit more. But people standing around, people that don't, you know, support you, people that they never repost your flyers. If somebody says to them, hey, do you know somebody that does whatever, and they don't recommend you, and they know you're good at what you do, you got to look at all those things. You know what I'm saying? I used to get so mad about it. I was like, I don't even get mad about it anymore. This is a whole other level. But when they need information, when they want to know something, when they want insight on something, oh, they'll call you. They'll definitely call you.
But they want it for free. They want it for free. It was just like on the free.
Okay. Yeah. You got to send them that link right on the voice. Yes, I had to learn that too. I had to learn that too. For the listeners, you know, you guys always know when I say this, it's like you can be nice. Nothing wrong with being nice, but you have to know how to do business as well. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with doing business. There's nothing wrong with pulling out that contract and being like, okay, this is what it is. Because that's just going to weed out the people that don't need to be around you anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, yeah.
So you want to know you want your dream customer. You don't want to just have someone, because you want a client ideally, because a customer could be one time. But a client is going to be someone that is relationship, ongoing, and then you want to make sure that they understand value too. So if they're level, if you have to keep teaching them your value, that's a lot of time you're taking away from you doing what you need to do.
Yep. I always talk about that, you know, when I do my ladies conference events. I'm like, your goal is to have clients, because clients is where you build the relationship. And sometimes you don't even have to have new clients all the time. You can upsell the clients that you currently have, because they're always going to need something else. And if their business is growing, then there's something else. I have a client right now. She's like, listen, I don't want to post on social media anymore. She's like, girl, I don't know how you was doing it. Because I know she wanted to save money, and she was, you know, trying to pull her budget together. And she was like, listen, September 1st, you're taking it back over. So it's going to add on to her contract, you know, that she currently has. So, yeah. Believe me, walking in your assignment is so important, and you have to listen to the spirit when it's speaking, because you could be wasting a whole lot of time unnecessarily, you know. And when I was saying that I was angry at myself for a long time, it's like, why didn't I listen before? And I even had to let that go. It's like, okay, I'm here now. Let's just walk, you know. All right, so we talked about business. We talked about, you know, the networking and all of that. What are some of what do you like to do in your downtime, like hobbies, things like that?
I love, before skating with Usher was popular, I already loved skating. So I like going in the sauna. I'll go to the gym, and then I'll just go in the sauna, because in that place, it's like I get to just stretch, and I take like a gallon of water. And I just love sweating. I feel like everything that's in me that's like toxic is just pouring out, you know. So that's one of my favorite things to do, just downtime, because it's so hot in there that you get weak, and then you can just do nothing but just surrender. I love that. I love reading books. I haven't got to read as much as I wanted to. I've been doing like the electronic books, and it's not the same as the paperback books, but I like the idea of having my Kindle. It's just harder for me to read, because I just love a good book with paper, you know. And then I love writing as well. So I always am journal writing. I love to reflect on everything, because like you said, when the Spirit is speaking, when Holy Spirit is speaking, He can speak through anything. And so it's like, be the pen of a ready writer. Always be ready, because the natural world may be happening, but the supernatural world, or the spiritual world, is even more active than the natural world. So there's always stuff around, maybe not detectable with the natural eye, but it's always there. If you miss it, you just missed it. It's like, it's over. Like, you know, they say, come look at the supermoon and then you don't go out when it's out, it's going to be gone.
Yeah.
So when
and
the Spirit is speaking, take note, because it's not the same as just information. Like God, He gives us revelation. Like you'll see things that are hidden, and that's the beauty of being with God. You know, like that you get hidden things that are not common to everyone else.
I think that we miss a lot of things too.
And that's just because of sometimes fear, or just sometimes there's so much things inside, like, you know, with them, like just even depressing or not focused on worry or stress, where you have to really be able to be in a position like to receive it as well. Because if there's brokenness or bitterness or the rejection, any good thing, a person can feel unworthy to even receive it. When God is trying to share, you know, your next step, or you're going to do this, your dream is going to come true, or you're going to, like, this is a vision, He's downloading it to you or uploading it to you, and then not being able to receive it because, you know, everyone else has hurt me, or I'm not good enough, or I don't have enough money, or I don't have. So it's not about what you have, it's what He has and who He is. But it's very important to take care of oneself. And even though I teach fitness, I don't think I like the cardio, like the Zumba stuff, but I just like slow things. I like just walking, you know, like I like things just because, like I said, there's so many things that you can just catch if you're just still, like, because God is a gentleman. He's not going to shout to you, and sometimes there's so much head noise, things going on, is a distraction to what God wants to show. So I would just say that's my top things to do.
A lot of people always waiting for the screaming, burning bush, you know, thing. And sometimes if God could send somebody, that person that sat next to you in the Starbucks that started a conversation that, you know, you're just like, okay, why is this person, there's all these other open seats over here. I just always, people just tend to, like, now I know you saw those open seats over there.
For that. Oh my goodness.
I don't know what it is, but there's something about your aura. There's something about when you're doing the right thing and getting stuff. And people are attracted to that. People are just attracted. I don't know what it is. And they start talking to you. I could have earphones in and people just start a conversation. And you hear this music in this earphone, you know, but somehow they start a conversation and it has turned into business for me. It has turned into, do you have a business card? Because I have somebody that really needs a blah, 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 blah. I cannot tell you how many times that has turned into business for me or something like that. It's amazing.
Thank you for that reminder, because I'm like, why this person, you know, so thanks for that reminder, because I missed that one. I mean, I always think, oh my goodness, but thank you.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so tell us, do you have any projects coming up? Where can we find you? Like, give us a little background. Like, where can we go follow you on social media? Tell us your website. Anything you got coming up, now is the time to let us know.
Wow. So right now I have my website, Yaisa Lifestyle Brand, and that's going to be my name. I'll spell it out for y'all. YAIS, as in Sam, A, lifestylebrand.com. And I have an event coming up where I'm going to be an MC and a speaker on the side. You know, it's going to be called Beauties, Books, and Brunch. And it's an anthology that I was able to be a part of. And all the speakers or the authors are going to be now speakers at a conference. And the brunch is complimentary. So if you're in OKC, that's going to be great. But if you're not in OKC, it's also going to be virtual. And the tickets are free. And I would love to share that with you all. I'm not sure if I can give you that link to share, but I can do that for you as well.
If you give me the link, what I'll do, folks that are listening to this, you know that you guys can always check the show notes, and that's where we have all the links and information to, you know, our guests that come onto the show. So yes, definitely give me that information.
Okay, and that's going to be on September 24th, and that's a Saturday, and then it's a whole weekend I'm having. So the next day on that Sunday, I will be having a pop-up skate meetup at Sugartoe Park in Oklahoma City. It's just going to be you bring your own skates or you rent some skates, and we're going to skate around the park, and I'll have a scavenger hunt, like take a picture by something that's a kind of like a landmark there. And then on the Monday, September 20, I believe that's going to be the 26th, I'm going to have a pop-up photo shoot. So I'm just renting a photo studio for like an hour, because I know a lot of people who are entrepreneurs, and it's so important to have headshots. So I just want to invite people to come in. I'll be offering like a free workbook on how to repurpose images and just how and I'll be there, we can be there to be each other's paparazzi as well, because it's important. Like when I go get pictures, I like when I have a friend with me and they're getting like video of me and I can repurpose that to use it for my stories or my reels. And so, and it's not about just having cute pictures. Sometimes we get so caught up on I got to get my makeup done and the outfit. It's just you being ready. Because I remember when someone invited me to be a speaker and I didn't have a headshot. And she was like, when I didn't give her a headshot and my bio was really not together, she said, well, maybe you can work on that and maybe next year you can be a part of it. So it's just don't just pray for opportunities, be prepared for it. And it doesn't mean that you have to be so polished. It doesn't have to be expensive. So that's why I'm wanting to invite all of my friends or even my new friends to just come up that day. It'll be like a 10-minute slot. It won't be very long, but at least getting a few headshots, and it'd be cost effective as well. So I think that's just the way to do it nowadays.
Oh yeah, and all y'all folks out there with these new phones, these new iPhones, these newfangled Androids, they take, first of all, people are making movies from their iPhones. So
wow.
There's a gentleman who did an entire movie from his iPhone. A lot of these folks are vlogging and doing all that stuff on, YouTube and all that kind of. They're using their iPhones and their Androids and sometimes their tablets and all of this. So, you think it looks like you're behind this camera, and then when they turn it around and show you what they're using, you see an iPhone.
Wow. Okay, now tell me something.
Yeah, anything can be done. Anything can be done. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your story. I think it is amazing. I think it's inspiring. You guys, this is Elevation Entrepreneur, and you have been listening to The Queen's Lair, and we were speaking with Yaisa Mann. And listen, I'm going to have all her information in the show notes. Go follow her, support her. She's doing great things. Anybody who is out there to support and lift up other people, these are the folks that we need to get behind. So thank you so much, Yaisa, for coming on the show. I appreciate you, sharing with our listeners. And we will see you around and talk to you soon. Maybe collab on an event, because I think that should happen.
It's in my book now. It's on the calendar.
Okay.
It's there now.
All right, Yaisa, thank you so much. Online savings simplified. Don't search for coupon codes ever again. With one click, Honey's smart shopping assistant will automatically apply discounts to your cart in seconds. Save on all your favorite things. Easily pay less for products you're already buying online. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Join Honey for free. It takes 2 clicks to add Honey to your Chrome, Safari, Firefox, or Opera browser. Find savings in seconds. While you shop, Honey will find working promo codes across the entire internet, and you save instantly. With one click, Honey will apply the best deals to your cart. It's that easy. So what are you waiting for? Get Honey. Download it today. Visit our link, www.tinyurl.com/ONYXHONEY. That's www.tinyurl.com/onyxhoney. Start saving right now.